Jorobe was just exposed by this TikToker. So apparently him and Jorobe became friends when he was not of age. Him and some of his friends would group FaceTime with Jorobe almost every single night. Eventually Jorobe wanted to meet up and suggested they get an Airbnb. Now originally the plan was for him, Jorobe, and some friends to go to the Airbnb, but that was not what Jorobe had planned. Jorobe wanted to get a one-room Airbnb so they would be alone together. Here are the alleged text about the Airbnb, and Jorobe even offered to buy alcohol for him. Luckily, he did not end up going on the trip. He alleges that Jorobe has also done this to other boys who are not of age. As of right now, Jorobe's account is on private.
And told me to call him daddy, and like he told me that he'll set me up, and I was so scared.
I'm making this because I'm pissed off and I don't want us wasting time on the, how do we know if this happened? Is there any evidence? We have to be careful first. No, this happened. You can watch that young man's video. I will pin who he is in the comments. He has cerebral palsy. He's 22 years old, but he was still preyed upon and manipulated. And his video is fucking heartbreaking. And there's a multitude of victims. I'm giving you a worst of highlights, and that's just of who's come forward so far. There's him, but then there's also the 14-year-old that he engaged in inappropriate Snapchats with, including conversations and images that were extremely inappropriate that he thought he was safe sending because it was Snapchat, not knowing that kid used an app to take screenshots, so he didn't know he was taking them. Sending that 14-year-old images like this. You may notice the chin there. Look familiar to anyone? Although I could see people who question that, so note the ring there. That look familiar at all? Like that exact ring. 14 years old. And I'm most upset because John works at a church where he works with youth. Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd in Fargo, North Dakota, and also activities chair for the Northern Sky District of the Boy Scouts of America. I don't know if he had access to Boy Scouts or not, but I know that he said he had access to youth at the church, and at least one of his inappropriate images allegedly was taken at the church, and I did not share the worst of the images that I've seen by far. Like, he sent much more graphic to the 14-year-old. He's deleted his platforms. That's not enough. The authorities need to be involved. This is serious.
Can't do at his video because it's longer than a minute, but immediately go check out Tiz's video right now. There was photographic evidence in there because we can't play this whole, did this really happen? You guys are just making this up. No victim blaming. No, photographic evidence right there. It's also a reminder we need to get the authorities involved. It lets you know where to call the police. It's also another reminder that John works at a church with children and he's the head of the Boy Scouts. Watch it.
This video will be about one of the biggest hypocrites I have ever met in my life, Jorobe. Here's a picture of him if you don't know him by his name. John is a disgusting and terrible hypocrite who abuses his platform by using his clout to groom and prey upon underage boys. He has done this to multiple people, including me. John first followed me whenever I had about 30,000 followers and joined my live stream and asked for my Snapchat, so I gave it to him. After Snapchatting for a few weeks, I invited him to a Zoom call with me and my other TikTok friends, which we did daily. After about a week of John joining the Zooms, he asked me if I wanted to get an Airbnb with him on my 18th birthday, which was over 3 months away. At the time, I thought it was a good idea, and initially, it was supposed to be with other people. This is him asking me who we should invite. After a few more days, I realized those were not his true intentions. He started to send me links to one-bedroom Airbnbs, and he offered to purchase me alcohol if I went. And this is him talking about the one-bedroom, and I was like, could we find one for like 2? That would be better. As you can see, he immediately changed the subject. A little over a week goes by, and then I decide to invite one of my IRL friends to the Zoom, and this is what John sent me. He knew that I did not want to get the Airbnb, so he thought if he invited one of my IRL friends, I would want to go. That's him asking when he was going to turn 18. He continued to ask me about the Airbnb for months until he just finally stopped. During one of the Zooms with all of my TikTok friends, John thought it would be a good idea to have us all take a BDSM score test and send him our results so he could see our kinks. Keep in mind, the youngest was 15 years old and the oldest were 19, and there were only two 19-year-olds, and everybody else was 17 and below. There were 12 of us. A few months later, in the Zooms, my friends would go into separate FaceTime calls, and it felt like me and John were always left out, and he tried to convince me that they were talking about me and that they weren't my real friends and that he was my only real friend. It worked, and I believed him. A few days later, I got a FaceTime call from all of my friends, and I answered, and in those FaceTime calls, during the Zooms, they were talking about how John was grooming me, and whenever they confronted me with this, I was very defensive. A few hours later, I called back and talked to them, and I finally realized that John was grooming me. I decided to cut John off and not confront him about anything. I didn't say anything for the past 8 months because I thought I was the only one until recently I found out that there are multiple people that John has groomed. John does not deserve to have any type of platform because if he does, he will continue this behavior and will not stop preying on teenagers. He's a disgusting and terrible person.
Please stop DMing me, please. I've heard, for those who don't know, Jorobe has allegedly tried to get with minors. Allegedly. Also allegedly tried to get them drunk. Just please, let me just deal with this. He's someone that I was on very friendly terms with, and I enjoyed it when I got to talk to him the few times that we did, and I'm just kind of disgusted right now. When I get the facts of the situation, I will let you guys know. I will try to reach out. Just please stop flooding my DMs. And this is just a lot for me to process right now, okay?
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Jorobe definitely groomed minors. Due to the request of Dylan, I reached out to Jorobe. After seeing my message, he deactivated his Instagram. I know it's deactivated versus blocked because it still shows that he follows me. Details about what happened to Dylan. Jorobe first reached out to Dylan when he was at 30K, asked for his Snapchat, got on Zoom calls with people as low as 15 all the way up to 19, isolated Dylan, made Dylan feel special, tried to trap Dylan with an Airbnb. When Jorobe could tell that he wasn't really down, tried to invite one of his IRL friends so that way he would go, and guilt tripped Dylan as to why he wouldn't go. Dylan's friends came to his aid and told him, hey, you're being groomed. One thing Dylan told me last night that made me throw my phone at a wall and scream was when Dylan said, thought he was my best friend. Adam is a grown adult, however, he has cerebral palsy and is disabled. When Adam was in a low state, Jorobe took advantage of that, asked him to call him inappropriate names, such as daddy, and made him play into weird situations. Also sent inappropriate pictures of himself to 14-year-olds. There's still more.
What happened to us? We used to be best friends.
TikTokers we used to support.
What I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Originally, I wasn't going to make this video about Jorobe, but a lot of stuff has come up in the past couple days that I feel like I almost have to. It's gotten to the point where so many people are DMing us and telling us stories about their experiences with Jorobe too, so I feel like I want to help back those up and be able to have this guy finally gone. And if you don't know the situation with Jorobe, pretty much what happened is that a bunch of minors. And a lot of the people that are DMing us are saying that they thought they were the only ones, and so did the rest of us. I can't go into specific details about what happened between me and Jorobe because it is quite not safe for work and TikTok will immediately take it down. But I'll try and give as much information as I can without this getting taken down. So Jorobe followed me when I didn't have a lot of followers, and he had around, I think, 300 to 400k. I would go check to get the exact time and numbers that he did have, but unfortunately he's deactivated all 3 of his accounts on social media, so I can't see the DMs. We didn't talk too much, we DM'd and commented on each other's stuff, sometimes duetted each other, and I thought we were friends. Then 2 days before my birthday, he DM'd me and asked me for my Snapchat. And around that time was the time where he started to actually get pretty big on TikTok. So of course I added him because I looked up to the guy and he was posting the same stuff as me, and you know, he was doing really well on TikTok. And then my birthday came around and he wished me a happy birthday. And then a little bit after that is when he came out to me personally before he actually came out on TikTok. And so I saw that as a sign of trust, and so I really trusted the guy. And then he abused and misused that trust and tried to get me to do things and was sending me things that I didn't want. And I felt like I couldn't say no because, I don't know, I felt like I trusted him, and then I felt bad for him because of all the shit he was getting on TikTok and all the hate that he was getting. And so I feel like he's just abusing and misusing his platform and this trust that he's getting with his fans, and he's using it for these nefarious purposes. And as I said before, he has deactivated all 3 of his social media accounts, and he's pretty much gone MIA. So please, if anybody you know that is in contact with Jorobe, please stop talking to him, and please make sure that people you know are safe.